If you want to get into the Aloha spirit with Aloha shirts, look to find a made in Hawaii brand of Hawaiian shirts. Aloha! Welcome to the Living Life Juicy podcast. My name is John Losey. I'm your guide as we explore how to be present and kind as we go about doing great things. Yes, today is Aloha Shirt Friday. And I didn't really know a lot about the concept of Aloha Shirt Friday until recently. My first exposure to the Aloha shirts was when I was working on a boat that was doing outdoor education and field biology in Hawaii. And we were docked sometimes right across from Aloha Towers in Honolulu Harbor. And walking downtown, you had to walk right by the Hilo Hattie's shop and kind of their factory where they sewed all these really cool Hawaiian style shirts. And so I bought a couple, and this was a while ago. And my Hawaiian shirts, or my Aloha shirts, started to fade and get torn, and I was really hesitant to give them up. In fact, one was so torn up, the collar was almost off and the side was ripped out. And I kept on wearing it, usually around the house, but I had to start replacing them, and that's when I started to look into what they really were. And popularly, they're known as Hawaiian shirts. But then I started looking into the concept of Aloha, and it actually started off with looking at an activity that I wanted to do to talk about significant greeting. And so every once in a while, if I'm leading a workshop or facilitating something, I'll do a welcoming thing or an opening activity called significant greetings. And I talk about how I came across the concept in Africa because the way that they greet people in several different languages is usually using the concept of I see you, rather than the hey, how you doing? Or, the casual things that we do that are, when we greet people, they're meant to be blown off. We don't want to stop and talk to them. But when you hear somebody in Africa, Metabali, or other kind of some of the Zulu language tribes, they say sawubona, and it means I see you. And in many different African cultures and languages, that's how they would greet people. I see you, and wow, to be seen, to be noticed. And then I noticed that in many other languages, they have these significant greetings. Shalom, salama aleka, namaste, are all these significant greetings that are intended to catch your attention, that have rich meanings. And even in Hawaii, when they talk about aloha and the aloha spirit, there's such a rich meaning. It's hard to define. It's a greeting. It's a salutation. It's a wish. It's a way of life. So rich with meaning. And so I started trying to replace my Hawaiian shirts and got caught up in the concept of aloha shirts. And there's stuff going back and forth if you want to talk about cultural appropriation and things like that. The last thing I want to do is disrespect a culture, especially when it's so rich. So I looked into the background, and it's really fascinating because the first time Aloha shirt is advertised, whether it's in a window, it was advertised in I think early 1930s, 1931, and it was from a Japanese shirt maker in Honolulu who started to basically take Japanese kimono fabric and make them into shirts. Even before that, a Hawaiian guy, big guy, asked his mother, this is in the 20s, had his mother start making shirts for him out of the kimono fabrics, these big, he would take these big colorful muumuus and turn them into shirts for himself. That was in the 20s. In the 30s is when the term Aloha shirts started coming out, and it was by a Japanese shirt maker and in Honolulu. But when it really started getting popular was after World War II, servicemen would come home with these really loud, gaudy, but very comfortable shirts. So after the war, 1946, Hawaii started Aloha Week. It was in 1946, and the whole point was to draw tourists in, promote Hawaiian culture, but behind all that is the economic concerns that come after the war. And the idea was, how can we promote Hawaiian manufacturers and textiles? Well, this was the perfect way to do it. Was with these they call it Aloha wear, and the Aloha wear included these Aloha shirts. Well, in 1962, the Hawaiian Fashion Guild wanted to promote Aloha wear as appropriate business attire. And so they suggested to the government, and actually gave the government workers a shirt, and said, Aloha shirts are appropriate business wear for the hot Hawaiian months. They're comfortable, they're light, and they make a heck of a lot more sense than wearing a business suit. Well, this started to catch on. In 1965, there was a push to make Aloha Fridays in Hawaii, where it was appropriate to wear Hawaiian and Aloha shirts to business, to work all year round on Fridays. Well, eventually this moved into where it's in Hawaii today. It's acceptable court dress, so you could wear it to court as a lawyer or as a clerk. Or, the Aloha shirt is known as formal wear in Hawaii, so you can wear it to court and to official proceedings. So as I look at this, I agree. The Aloha shirt isn't traditional, old school Hawaii Polynesian culture. It's not. It came about in the 1920s and 30s. But promoting Aloha shirts was all about the economic development of Hawaiian-based companies, of local Hawaiians, promoting the culture. And so I'm looking at this, and you talk to some Hawaiians, and what they say is, why would we be offended? We are selling these things in ABC shops all over the islands. Every other block is the shop that sells this. So when you promote the Hawaiian shirt or the Aloha shirt, Aloha wear, you're doing some economic good for Hawaii. Now, a little caveat on this is that now there's a lot of non-Hawaiian companies that are making a killing off of its rise in fashion and dropping in fashion. So I would encourage you, if you want to get into the Aloha spirit with Aloha shirts, look to find a made in Hawaii brand of Hawaiian shirts. And not only that, this Aloha wear is spreading over Polynesia. So I was able to get a shirt made for me when we were in Fiji using traditional Fijian textiles and patterns. And each island and each culture has its own set of patterns and textiles that you could take advantage of. So I don't want my Hawaiian shirt or my Aloha spirit to be any way derogatory to Hawaiian or Polynesian culture. I really want to support this idea of Aloha. And so for me personally, I don't work in the office, but I practice Aloha Fridays. And so you know that I'm filming this on a Friday because I have my Aloha shirt on. And to me, part of living life juicy is taking a look at everything that you do and not necessarily limiting what you do based on other people's opinions, but making sure that what you do promotes and supports really cool things like the concept of Aloha. So Aloha Friday, aloha everybody, enjoy your day.